Hey y'all, welcome back. How are we? So as you can see by the title, today's gonna be a little bit more vulnerable. We've been doing more of that. The last video was about my weight gain and now we're gonna talk about how I overcame my depression, anxiety, all the things. We're also gonna define overcoming something. So let's just talk about it. But first, if you've not subscribed to my channel yet, make sure you do that. We're on the road to 1 million. Join the family, join the sisterhood, okay? And now we can get into the video. So, where do I begin? I don't want to bore those of you with the same story if you've been watching my channel for a minute. I'll put the video up here. I've talked about my anxiety before. I've talked about my fertility journey and how that brought upon a lot of anxiety and depression before. If you want to go watch those videos, go get the context and then come back. But ever since then, I think anxiety has been the main pillar of struggle in my life, and then depression can come from anxiety, right? Let's define our terms. So anxiety is fear of the future, right? Fear of the unknown. And so the depression, on the other hand, can take a lot of different forms. It can look different for a lot of different people. It is different. For me, it feels like a lack of energy, a lack of enthusiasm, a lack of hopefulness. I thought, right, that most of my life it was just the anxiety thing. And then I realized, oh girl, sometimes the anxiety and that constant fear of the future is so draining that it ends up turning into depression, right? They're like bestianas. Having to, well, not having to, because we don't have to, changing the language, the feeling of consistently worrying, consistently kind of looking over the shoulder, consistently fearing something that may not even exist. Sometimes as people with anxiety, you're fearing something that you might not even be able to put a name on it. Sometimes people might be like, what are you anxious about? And it's like, I don't know. That constant feeling is something that takes up a lot of energy in the body, in the mind, in the spirit. And so the anxiety for me ended up being like a gateway to depressive seasons, I would say. Once I know I've been having anxiety for a while, I started to realize, uh-oh, I think the depression's coming, because the body can only withstand so much high energy of like worry and for so long before it gets tired, right? And so for me, I would always reach this point of feeling tired, of feeling like, oh girl, forget it. Like I am just tired of being worried, but I can't stop the worry. So now I'm feeling hopeless, right? And now that's making me sad, and now that makes me feel like I'm helpless because I'm trying this and I'm trying this and I'm trying this and I can't fix the anxiety, and now it's just draining, and now I'm just gonna wallow in the drain. And I hate when people, let me say this, I hate when people are like, it's a choice, it's a choice. I don't feel that way, especially as somebody who went to school for that. I know about the chemical imbalances that are happening in the brain, right? So I really don't feel that way, and I don't like when people try to act like it's this, oh, I just don't feel like trying. That's really not what it is. As somebody who has experienced the anxiety to depression pipeline, the body at one point starts to shut down. It's not that you're lazy or you want to shut down, but the body at one point literally starts to be like, girl, I need a moment to recuperate. It's like a hibernation type of thing. That's like the best way I could explain it. Like the body eventually starts to feel like it needs to hibernate for a second and harvest some of this energy, only for you to be anxious again once it's ready, right? It's like a cycle of high energy, then I'm drained, so now I'm hibernating in this depression, and now I've harvested enough energy, and now I'm back to high energy, drain myself again, now I'm back to, like, it's this up and down, peaks and valleys, right? So I say all that to say, I just want you to understand the pipeline of anxiety to depression. Maybe you've never experienced it. Maybe having this conversation, now you realize what you're experiencing. I definitely have, and I never want you to feel alone in that, because I know what that feels like. And it is truly something I would not wish on anybody. Now, let's talk about how I was able to see this, acknowledge it, and then fix it. First thing is always going to be to name it. Just because you're naming it, you're not claiming it on you for now and the future. Just because you're naming it doesn't mean it is now yours forever. You're naming what you may be currently experiencing. You're naming this season of fall, this season of spring, this season of whatever. You're naming this season. That doesn't mean that the next season isn't coming. You're naming it. You're not claiming fall is yours forever. We're just naming it. So I think sometimes people don't like to name it because it feels like if I say I'm dealing with anxiety and depression, it makes it real. It won't go away. I have to accept that, and that's hard. We don't want that for you, right? Just because you're naming it doesn't mean you're claiming it. First, for me, I had to realize, one, that I had anxiety, which was really, really tough. Once I was able to name it, I was able to research it. I was able to say, okay, I'm dealing with anxiety. What is anxiety? What does that look like? Whether I'm on YouTube looking at videos of like cartoon explanations of anxiety, or reading about it, or articles, or Reddit threads of people explaining their stories, like just being able to immerse yourself in, okay, what is this? What do people around me experience it like? What are the studies about it? What is the overall feeling about it? What is this? Girl, get on Google and type in your symptoms. What are the things that you're feeling? Are you feeling helpless? Are you feeling hopeless? Are you feeling fearful? Are you feeling paranoid? Like what are the things you're feeling? And then let's name it. Once you name it, it's time to build a relationship with the parts of you that embody that. I like to say that there are several versions of us that exist at the same time, right? It's kind of like the Marvel universe, like the multiverse. You kind of are your own little multiverse, right? And so there are a lot of different versions of you. Beyond the fact that you have your inner child, there's future you that you're creating literally millisecond by millisecond, and then there's present you that's creating future you. Like, but think about the relationship that each of those versions have with each other, especially between your present and future self. As I'm talking, I'm in the future, right? Like as I'm talking, now another second has passed. Like my present and my future are always morphing together. My present is creating my future in every single second. Think about the relationship that is, the intertwining that is. We often can think about that, but we don't think about the past and present and how they are also intertwining, because 5 seconds ago, I just created my past. The thing that I just said a second ago is now in my past. So my past, my present, and my future self are always dancing and always intertwined. And so you are your own multiverse. And I say that to say, beyond past, present, and future you, there are also different sides of you and versions of you that interact with each other all the time, that may be taking the wheel at different times, right? There may be a version of you that's very anxious, that may be more insecure, more worrisome. There also may be a version of you that is very angry, that this version of you is sad, right? So this version of you may be the protector version, may be the I don't play that ish version, may be the angry version of you. And so now these versions are dancing with each other, right? And then you're somewhere in the middle. It's important to recognize when we're trying to figure out ourselves, when we're trying to figure out, okay, what are these feelings I'm feeling? Sometimes it's important to ask ourselves, who is feeling this feeling? Yes, it's always you, but what version of you is feeling that? If you're feeling anxious, sometimes it's important for me to ask myself, is this little Taty, is this little inner child me feeling worrisome about the future because she's a child and doesn't have much power right now? Is it her talking because now I just need to nurture her? I need to gentle parent her, right? Or am I angry? Am I bitter? Am I protective right now? Am I not allowing myself to feel right now? Am I avoidant right now? Okay, this is protector me coming in because she gets angry when she sees me sad. And so she comes in to try to stop that sadness. Let me tell her that it's okay that I'm sad. Let me tell her that the best thing she could do to protect me right now is to let me feel so I can let this cloud pass. Who's talking to you? And that is really, really, really important, because a lot of times we want to be this one thing, this monolithic in a box. I'm just one person, but you are so many different persons at once. You are so many different versions of you. You are your future self right now. Your past self was just created. Your present is right now. You are little girl you. You are future boss you. You are current boss you. Like, you are all the things all the time, all at once. And sometimes different versions of you take the wheel. I realized that anxious me sometimes was little girl me, was unsure me, was I'm not in control, I'm just a child me, was feeling powerless and helpless me, right? She's the one that takes the wheel sometimes. But sometimes when she has the wheel too long, protector me can't be a passenger princess anymore and is like, babes, I can't stand to see you sad, so give me the wheel. And now I'm about to aggressively drive away from whatever it is that is making you sad. Rather than us parking, facing it, and then moving on with our journey, I'd rather just leave it in the rear view because I hate to see you sad, which isn't healthy either, right? Neither of them are having the best driving experience, which leaves me in the back seat like, What are we doing? You're probably in the back seat to different versions of you that you're letting take the wheel. When anxious me is coming, it's probably little girl me with the wheel. When depressed me is coming, it's probably some version of protector me feeling like, oh my God, I'm so tired of her feeling like this and I feel bad because I don't know how to fix it. Let me take over and just take the brunt of it and just, I'm tired of seeing you like this. I can't look at you sad anymore. Right? And now she's feeling sad because she's not feeling like she's doing her job as a protector. That would be like the second realization I would say about this whole anxiety versus depression battle, right? Like I kind of was saying, learning to nurture those versions is what makes the car a little less gloomy, right? Now, I am gonna tell you how I learned to nurture those versions and how that made me a better me, how that made me be in a happier car ride, and how that made me communicate with these versions better. But there are some times where you just are going to need to get help. Sometimes we just don't have the tools, and I am never going to be the one to say, oh girl, you can do it all on your own all the time. Sometimes you have to just get some help. That may be calling on friends and family, that may be a doctor, or that may be your therapist, right? And I too have a therapist who was so helpful and monumental in my journey. So that is where today's sponsor comes in, BetterHelp. BetterHelp is on a mission to make starting therapy much easier. It's a platform where therapists and their clients can communicate much more effectively and easily to make therapy overall much more efficient. Beyond one-on-one conversations, there's a journal that's in the app so you can have daily reflection, and there are group sessions on a bunch of different topics. Also, starting BetterHelp is super easy. You fill out a questionnaire and then you get matched with your therapist in as little as a few days. Now, one feature that I love, because I hear from a lot of people, I don't really like my therapist, so I just quit on therapy. No, we don't let one therapist ruin our experience of healing. So on BetterHelp, if you don't match with your first therapist, they'll switch you out, no cost, no fee, no nothing. That way you can find the therapist that is right for you. BetterHelp is a platform that I highly recommend. I think it's a great way to start your therapy journey. And so if you're struggling, consider getting some help with BetterHelp. You can click the link in my description and go to betterhelp.com/Taty to get 10% off your first month. Clicking the link does support this channel, but it also helps you get your therapy started as quick as possible so you can kickstart your journey today. Therapy has been such a fruitful part of my journey, so I always want to support going to get that. Thank you so much to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back into it. Nurturing these versions of yourself is how you can make the car a brighter space. At least that's how it worked in my case. I've created a healthier household, I guess, within myself, right? Dr. Anita Phillips talks about this concept of the garden within, right? And I love that idea because a lot of times we make the mind, body, and heart and gut and spirit a battleground, right? Not only because we are living in these emotions that tear us up, but also because, just like I said, we have a lot of versions of us that are fighting to say, I know what's best for her. No, I know what's best for her. No, I do. And so now your inside is a battleground rather than it being a garden, right? And in order for you to flourish, you need to create a garden within, not a battleground, because not only will the battleground tear you up on the inside, but it will also rob you of a sense of peace, because what peace is there on battleground? What sense of exhale is there in battleground? It's always going to be shaking something up within you rather than bringing you peace, rather than being a blanket, rather than being a field and a meadow for you to rest in. You need to be able to rest within yourself. You need to be able to feel like you are hugging yourself from the inside. And a lot of times we are fighting ourselves from the inside, fighting to get out. Maybe a lot of the things inside of you are like, girl, I don't want to feel this anymore. I need to get out. Not only do I don't want to feel this, I don't want you to feel this anymore. I'm fighting to get out of you rather than you leading them, rather than you creating a pathway for those things to leave and for better things to enter. They're just fighting to get out. They're fighting to find any type of exit because you're not providing an exit or a healthy exit, right? And so, say all that to say, nurturing the versions of yourself is crucial. Creating a relationship with not only the inner self of you that may get sad and may get hopeless, and letting them know that there's something to live for, that there is something to smile about, that there is something to be enthused about, and to take a deep breath, to gentle parent that version. But it's also so important to gentle parent the bully in you. And this is where we talk about you being your biggest bully. We kind of touched on this in the last video. We all tend to be our biggest bully. There's probably a bully version of us somewhere in you that either talks down to you or clings on to these negative feelings because it wants you to feel them, because maybe you feel that you only deserve to feel these things. That's guilty, that's shameful, that is mean. It's literally like a movie-esque bully that lives inside of you, right? Something we always talk about that I'm sure you've heard in life is that typically the bullied tends to become the bully. The bully typically is not just waking up choosing to be a bully. They might be getting bullied in their home, with family. They might be getting bullied in school, and one day they tired of that and they're like, now I'm about to be the biggest, baddest bully. They might be bullying themselves because of societal standards and they feel like they don't fit up. Whatever it is, the bully felt bullied in some way, shape, or form before. And now this bully is taking lead in your life and you are allowing it to come up anytime you feel some type of exhale. It's coming to tell you to inhale and hold it and not let it go. And maybe you're right. No, maybe like a byproduct of this sad version of you that felt bullied and then like created this alter ego of like, now I'm gonna be the bully. And now they're dancing and battling and fighting within you. Now, bullying yourself, you don't even need anyone else to do it anymore. Sometimes it's important to nurture the bully version of you as well and let them know, hey, I know you only feel like bullying me because you felt bad. I know where you come from. I know you actually are bullying me because you think this is tough love, because you actually love me so much it hurts you to see me sad. So now you're this like rough and tough version. Regardless of that, it all comes from a place of self-love. You love me. You love me, I know you do, but the way that you're showing it is painful. And it's not helping. And I know you're upset. I know you're in pain too. I know you're upset about the things that may happen to me and the things that have happened and my trauma and the people that did me wrong. I know you're upset and that's why you're acting like this and that's why you're lashing out. But underneath it all, you love me. And so it's okay. It's safe. I'm safe. I know I've been through things, but I'm so strong and I'm back up on my 2 feet and it made me who I am today. You need to talk to your bully version like that and let her know, hey, I know where all that's coming from, but it's okay. I don't need you to talk to me like that. I don't need you to lash out. You're safe too. And that version and your bullied version may start to morph back together. And then we could just take care of that one version as a whole, right? Because really they're coming from the same place of sadness, of insecurity, of hurt, of pain, of trauma, of whatever it is. We need to bring these two versions back together. Miss, I'm really sad, and Miss, I'm really angry. We need to bring them back together so they can exist and say, I'm just really hurt. And then we can nurture that version as a one, rather than letting these two battle it out, because it's too much. It's splitting your attention. They can't both take the driver's seat, right? So let's merge them and then nurture them. Doing that is something that literally changed my life, because when my little anxious version comes up, you know, I can nurture her, and I've been able to nurture my bully version, not fully. So in the same way that I say fixing, I don't feel that it'll ever be fully fixed, because we're still human beings, right? But I think I've created such a better relationship with the versions of myself. I let them talk, I let them exist. If I'm angry, I'll let myself be angry for a little second and then start to talk to her and say, okay, now how do we feel now? And now we let it out. I created more of a garden of a bunch of different fruits of, for example, even in the anger, sometimes I don't consider that like a bad weed. Sometimes the anger has to happen because I've learned something in the anger. Maybe I said something while being angry to myself in my brain that helped me understand myself further, that helped me understand a situation better. And now I feel more fruitful. Like, the anger is not always a bad weed that needs to be pulled. Sometimes it just needs to fully sprout, and it might sprout into something super, super beautiful in the end of it, but you have to give it its moment and give it its stage. And so if you don't give it its moment, and if you don't listen to its moment carefully and see what she's really saying, it will never fully blossom. And so when creating this garden within, embrace all the emotions, all the different seeds. I look at these seeds as emotions. I look at these seeds as thoughts. Embrace them and allow them to fully unfold, and be a listener, be a nurturer, let me see why I'm feeling so angry right now. Ask questions when these things are talking to you, out loud, to other, whatever it is. Ask yourself questions like, now why am I angry? Am I sad? Is that why I'm angry? Am I feeling rejected? Is that why I'm angry? Am I feeling triggered? Is that why I'm angry? Like, what's underneath this bully? What has this bully experienced that they're lashing out. Okay, now I can deal with what's underneath this bully. Let's go here and let's deal with this. Why is this triggering? Why am I sad? Why am I feeling less than? Whatever it is, working through those emotions. And then finally, the final wraparound is shifting of perspective, right? So we've named it, we've understood it, we've created relationships and identified the different versions of self. We've welcomed communication now with all these different versions of self. We've bettered the relationships with these different versions. We've maybe merged some. We've maybe identified more and calmed them. We give them a safe space to exist. And now we come to that final come around of perspective shift. I let myself have all these emotions, and then that perspective shift sweeps in the bottom of, but what if it all goes right? Right? So let's say I'm having an anxiety moment and I'm like, let me let her let this out. She's having this anxious thought. She's feeling these things. Let it out, babe. Let it out. After she lets it out, I might ask some questions. Why? Why are we so fearful? Why this? Why that? At the end, that bottom part is gonna come to either a, I'm fearful because I don't feel powerful right now. I don't feel in control. I don't feel whatever it is. That perspective shift is gonna come to the bottom, but you are. But you are in control. Control might be in letting it go. Your power might be in being okay with whatever the outcome is. That's where that perspective shift comes in, and then I'm like, you're right. Who cares, right? Or if I'm sad or something, right? It's, why am I sad? What am I feeling? Am I feeling hopeless? Am I feeling helpless? Once I walk all those things down, that final block is gonna be that perspective change of, you aren't helpless and you've gone so far and you've helped yourself so much. Even if it was moving a pinky toe forward, you did it. Even if it's just still standing, I'm still here. Even if I had to take a step back, look around again, get my footing, and then move forward, great. Regardless, you're doing, you're existing, you're here, it's okay. And just coming back around to whatever is causing you negative feelings, that's feeling very daunting and draining and heavy, coming back around to, but what if this? But what if we were to look at it this way? But what if I were to see it like this? Once you're able to do that, amazing. You're now in a position of feeling better than you ever could have imagined. Now you're in a position of, okay, I just allowed myself to go through all these phases. I just allowed myself to walk through all these different versions. And now I'm full circle back to everything's okay. And that may not always happen. It may take a couple tries, it may take a couple days, it may take whatever. But regardless, going through the process allows those versions of you to trust you. They know, listen, even if I am feeling this, she's gonna let me feel it, and then we're gonna work through it. You have to be able to trust you. All those different versions of you have to be able to trust you. Those fruits in the garden have to be able to trust that you're gonna water them and you're gonna give them room to grow. And that is the point of overcoming these things that feel like they're in control of you. You stepping back in power and saying, no, I'm in control, I'm the head of this household, and I am more than able and equipped to handle all these different things and all these different emotions, because we all are one and you all want the best for me at the end of the day, even if it doesn't seem like it. Underneath it, you do want the best for me. Think about like fight or flight, like a human response, right? Naturally, the human body's gonna fight to survive. Like it's just gonna do that. And so it's the same thing in your body of like naturally, your human body is fighting for your survival, is fighting for your win. Your emotions, all these different versions of you are naturally fighting for you to prosper and to get out of the situation, right? Even if it doesn't seem that way, even if they express it in ways that feel like, do you hate me? Do I hate myself? You really don't. And it's just about acknowledging and understanding why it comes off that way and really fruitfully understanding who you are. So that's all I have for today, y'all. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you got something out of this conversation and you can continue to explore your own journey in depression, anxiety, or your mental health in general, or just life and existing as a woman, as a human on this earth. I hope you got something from it. Let's talk about it in the comments. Tell me your story, tell me your journey, or tell me something that you got from this video. And I will see y'all in my next one.